Hi everyone, in this video I will be designing this landing page using Bootstrap 5. So in my previous video I have designed this in Figma, so then I have converted that design to a Bootstrap template. So this is the finished demo and I will be designing this from the very start. So let's see what we have in this project. So at the top we have navigation, and then we have the hero section, and as you can see when I refresh the page we have this beautiful animations. Okay, and then we have our services section, so these are the different services. Okay, and then we have the project section. All right, so we have a slider here, and if you click on these dots, the slider is changing, and when you hover on these projects, as you can see, we have the text appears like this. Okay, and if you scroll down, okay, we have this review section. All right, looking great. And also we have this slider right here, and then we have the team section, and inside the team section we have these different team members. All right, and this cool effect, as you can see. And then we have the blog section, and after the blog section we have the contact us section. All right, and after the contact us section we have this Instagram post, and finally a footer. So I will be designing this from the very beginning, and this website is completely responsive. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm going to name this *YT. So here I'm going to create a new file. This will be index.html. Right, and here I'm going to create a new folder. This will be assets, and I'm going to create another folder, CSS, and one for the JavaScript, one for the images. All right, so I'm going to copy the images from the finished project. So I'm going to copy, and here I'm going to paste the images. All right, so inside the CSS I'm going to create a file. This will be app.css, and one for the bootstrap.css. Inside the JS I'm going to create another file. This will be bootstrap.bundle.main.js. all right, and another file. This will be app.js. Alright, so let's go to the Bootstrap website, getbootstrap.com. Click on the docs, click on the quick start. Okay, I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to paste that code. Sorry, not inside, so this should be inside this index.html. Paste it. Okay, change the title. So I'm going to name this alright, and I'm going to link the files that I have created. Alright, so I'm going to remove this. Alright, so I'm going to open this file with the live server. Alright, and I'm going to click on the CDN links. I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to copy this Bootstrap JavaScript code. Here I'm going to paste it. Alright, and then I'm going to go to the Bootswatch website. So these are the Bootstrap themes. So they have changed the styling for the buttons, and they have these different themes. not only for the buttons, for the different components like a form, input buttons, and so on. So I have used this cyborg theme. I'm going to click on this download, and then I'm going to click on this bootstrap.css. I'm going to copy this code. All right. Inside this bootstrap.css, I'm going to paste this. All right. Okay, so I'm going to preview this. Okay. So as you can see, we have these different styles. Okay, so I'm going to copy this navigation bar. All right. Here I'm going to create a comment for this. Will be in navigation bar, and I'm going to paste it. So I'm going to remove this form. Okay, and also this drop down, and I'm going to remove this link as well. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, so this is going to be, the first link is going to be services, and this is going to be portfolio, blog, and contact. So I'm going to copy this. This is going to be contact, and here I'm going to put a button. So I'm going to, the button is going to be primary button, and the text is going to be get started. So I'm going to save it, and let's see. Okay, so we have this navigation bar component. So what I'm going to do, I want the navigation and the button to be on the right side. So for that, I'm going to type margin start auto. All right, and I'm going to remove this float. So now we have some space now, and I'm going to give some space between the button and the nav links. So for that, I'm going to select the button. I'm going to add some space. So I'm going to type margin start on large devices and above large. Space is going to be 3. All right, looking great. Okay, and then I'm going to remove this brand. Okay, so I'm gonna type h4, and inside this h4 I'm gonna put an anchor tag, and the text is going to be darky. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's it for the navigation, and also I'm gonna increase some padding. So padding on y-axis, type 3. All right, 3 is looking great. And as you can see, these navigation items are very close to each other, not much close, but a little bit close to each other. So I'm going to give some space. So I'm going to go to the app.css. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to get the font that I have used. So by default the font is Roboto, so which is a very cool font, and if you are okay with this font, then you don't need to do this tip. So I'm gonna go to fonts.google.com. so the font that I have used is Manrope. Okay, so I'm gonna search for Manrope, and this is also, like I said, is a very cool font. So if you don't want to use this Manrope font, so that's okay. So I'm gonna select 405 and yep, 6. I'm gonna scroll down, and I'm gonna copy this link, and here I'm gonna paste it. Then I'm gonna type the body. So I'm gonna select the body element. Okay, and here I'm gonna change the font family. So the font is going to be Manrope. If this is not available, the font is going to be sans serif. So I'm gonna close this now. So as you can see, the font has now changed. And now I'm gonna select the navigation bar. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the bootstrap.css, and I'm gonna search for navigation bar. Okay, so here are the different variables, so you can customize this. So here we have this navigation navbar nav link padding X. So the padding on the between the nav links is 0.5 frame. So I'm gonna copy this. So by the way, I'll leave this file as it is. So this is your original file. So you can override these values right here. So I'm gonna paste that, and let's say I'm gonna increase this to 1.5 frame. Oops, it did not change. Alright, so we have to link that file. You can save it, and so now we have this space which is looking cool, and you can increase the space or decrease. So I think 1.2 rem will be enough. Okay, looking great. And then we have the buttons, so I'm gonna type buttons. So I'm gonna select the button class. Alright, I'm gonna remove the border radius. I'm gonna set the border radius to 0 and increase the padding a little bit. From the top and bottom is going to be 10 pixel, and left and right is going to be 20 pixel. Alright, that's it. So that's it for the navigation bar, and let's move to the hero section. So I'm going to select this navigation bar, and I'm going to click on the format selection. Alright, here I'm going to create a comment. So this will be hero. I'm going to create a section. I'm going to give an ID to this section, so this will be hero. Alright, inside the hero section I'm going to create a container. Inside the container I'm going to create a row class, and I'm going to add the comment. So this will be container, this will be row, this will be column. So here I'm going to create a column. So this will going to be column on large devices and above large. I'm going to put an image here. It's going to be hero image. Okay, and I'm going to add a class to this image. So I'm going to put image fluid. Alright, so the fluid class is going to say I cover this the full width, the available space, cover that available space. So and then I'm going to create another column. It's going to be column LG7. Okay, so I'm going to copy the text from the finished project. So I'm going to put H1. Alright, and then I'm going to put a paragraph here. I'm going to copy the text from the finished project, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so let's format this. Alright, and here I'm going to create a div. Okay, and I'm going to put a button here. So the first button is going to be primary button. So I'm going to type just get started, and I'm going to put another button, and this button is going to be secondary, and the text is going to be contact us, let's say. Alright, so we have these two buttons, and wow, the text is looking very huge. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another class. I'm gonna add a class, so the class is going to be heading 3, so it will going to decrease the font sizes. Alright, looking cool. And I want the hero section to cover the full height. Okay, the viewport height. So for that I'm gonna add a class minimum height is going to be 100 VH. Alright, and I want this container to be in the center. So for that I'm gonna type display grid. Alright, align content center. So as you can see, this hero section is the content is now in the center, and also I want the text to be in the center. So I'm going to type align item center. Alright, and I want to give some space between this text and the image. So I'm going to select this this class, and I'm going to type fading on x-axis on large devices in a ball large. So fading is going to be 5. Alright, there we go. So we have some space now. So let's see this. So as you can see, the text and the image is very close. So I'm going to add another class. So this is going to be padding on, margin on y-axis 4. So as you can see, we have some space now. And also if you want to give some space between the image and the navigation bar, so you can do that. So I'm going to add padding on y-axis 5. So now we have some space now, looking cool. Alright, so I'm gonna select the paragraph. Okay, I'm gonna add a class. So margin top is going to be 3 and margin bottom, let's say 4. Alright, looking great. Okay, so that's it for the hero section, and now let's move to our services section. Okay, so here I'm going to create a comment. This will be services. Create a section, and the ID is going to be services. Alright, and here I'm going to create a container. So let's add a comment. I'm going to put a row here. And here I'm going to put a column. Okay, so I'm going to put a column MD, let's say 6. Alright, and so we have a subtitle, main title, and description. So I'm going to copy this. Here I'm going to put H6. Alright, then I'm going to type H2, and I'm going to decrease the font to, let's say, heading 3, and the text is going to be our services. So I'm going to copy the text, paragraph text. Alright, and I'm going to save this. Alright, so I'm going to give some space. So I'm going to add a class. This is going to be padding top and bottom 5. Alright, so we have some space now, and here I'm going to add another class. This is going to be bg2. Okay, and here I'm going to create a comment. So it's going to be bg. Alright, and I'm going to change the background color to this color. Okay, so now we have, this is dark and this is a light dark. Okay, so I'm going to change this subtitle color to text primary. Alright, looking great. And let's increase this to, let's say, 7. say it. All right, and here I'm going to create another column. It's going to be column MD4. All right, and I'm going to put a button here. So button is going to be primary button, and the text is going to be explore more. Okay, so one thing that I forgot is to give some space between these hero buttons. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So I'm gonna type margin on x is going to be 2. Okay, we have some space now. Okay, and I want the button to be vertically in this center. So for that, you can add a class align item center. All right, so this is now in the center, and you can push the button to the right side by text int. Oops. All right, let's see the responsiveness. Okay, so I want the button to be on the left side. Okay, so I'm going to type margin on MD, and above is going to be on the right side. Okay, so on medium and above medium, the button is going to be on the right side, and if the device or width is smaller than medium devices, then this is going to be on the left side. Looking great. Okay, cool. So that's it for the intro row. So I'm going to give some space. So margin bottom is going to be, let's say, 4. So here I'm going to create another row. I'm going to add a comment, so it's going to be column. MD is going to be, let's say, 4. Okay, so I'm going to add another class. This will be service, and I'm going to put an icon. Okay, so let's go to the Line Awesome website. I'm going to click on the first link, and I'm going to grab the link so that we will be using these icons. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so we have these different icons, and I'm going to click on the get started. Okay, and I'm going to copy this link. Okay, I'm going to scroll to the top here, and I'm going to paste that link. All right, so now I can use these icons. So let me grab okay, so let me grab this icon. I'm going to go to this services section. Here I'm going to paste this icon. All right, and then I'm going to put heading 4 tag, and this is going to be service heading, and I'm going to put a paragraph. The text is going to be lower 14. All right, so as you can see, we have that icon, and the text is large, so I'm going to decrease the font size for that. So I'm going to add another class to this. It's going to be heading 5. All right, heading 5 is looking great. All right, and I'm going to give some padding. So I'm going to give padding on left and right bottom on every side is going to be 4. All right, and here I'm going to create a class. So class is going to be custom border or border custom. Okay, so the border is going to be, the width is going to be 1 pixel, and type is going to be solid, and the color is going to be, let's say, okay, and I'm going to give a transition. Alright, so on hover, I'm going to change the border color. So I'm going to go to the bootstrap.css and let's search for the primary. So they have used this blue color as a primary color, so I'm going to copy this. So on hover, the color is going to be this blue color. So now we can use this class, and I'm gonna add that class. So class is border custom, save it. So as you can see, looking nice. Alright, so let's design this a little bit. So I'm gonna scroll down, and here I'm gonna add a comment. So this will be service. Alright, so I'm gonna select the icon. Alright, I'm going to set the width for the icon is going to be 60 pixel, okay, and the background is going to be, height is going to be 60 pixel. Alright, and I'm going to change the background color, let's say, alright, and I want the icon to be in the center here. Okay, so for that I'm going to set the display to grid. Okay, align content center. Okay, and I'm going to set the text align to center as well. I'm going to change the font size to, let's say, 32 pixel. Alright, and I'm change the color to white, the icon color white. There we go. And on hover, I'm going to change the icon color. So I'm going to select, I'm going to add a transition to this as well. So I'm going to copy this transition. Icon on hover, I'm going to change the background color. It's going to be this blue color. Alright, and I think that's it. And when on hover on this service box, okay, then I'm going to select the icon and change the background color to this blue color as well. So when I hover on the service, so the icon background is changing also. Alright, so let's adjust the spacing. So I'm going to select the heading text. I'm going to give margin top 3 rem and not 3 rem, so this is margin top 3, margin bottom 4. Oops, it's a little bit too much. So yeah, this is looking cool. Awesome. So I'm going to duplicate this column, paste it, and I'm going to change this to, let's say, I'm going to copy this, change the icon, and let's see. Wow, looking great. So let's move to, okay, so we have to add this link. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna select this paragraph, Control D. Alright, then I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna hit enter, and here I'm gonna create a link. It's going to be read more. Alright, there we go. So the space, I'm going to reduce the space between this intro and this services. So I'm going to reduce this to margin bottom 3. Alright, 3 is looking fine. So now let's go to the another section, which is this project section. So let's design this project section. So for that, I'm gonna duplicate this section. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this row, and I'm gonna change this to portfolio. Alright, and the text is going to be work, our latest projects. Alright, and let's see, and I'm going to remove this bg2 color, bg2 class, sorry. Alright, so let's design this section. So I have used the swiper.js slider for this section, so I'm going to visit to swiper.js.com. Alright, and get started. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to copy this link. Alright, go to here. I'm going to paste that link here. Alright, and then I'm going to copy this. Copied, and I'm going to go to right here. And I'm going to paste that link. Alright, so now I can use this slider. So I'm going to click on this demos. So I'm going to click on this pagination demo. I'm going to click on this core. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down. Okay, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, copied, and here I'm going to create a comment. This will be slider, and I'm going to paste the slider right here. So I'm going to select this format selection. Alright, and I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to scroll to here. I'm going to copy this. Alright, so go to the app.js and I'm going to paste it right here. Clickable, so I'm going to add so as you can see, when I click on this slider, these nav dots, which is not working, so I'm going to enable this. So I'm going to type clickable to true. Alright, so as you can see, it is now working. So I'm going to remove some of these slides. I'm going to add a comment. This will be slide, and here I'm going to add a class, so this will be project. Alright, and here I'm going to put an image. Alright, so I'm going to go to the images. So it's going to be portfolio 1, and I'm going to add a class. This will be image fluid. So let's scroll to here. Alright, and then I'm gonna add a div. I'm gonna add a class, so this is going to be overlay, and I'm gonna put h4, and I'm gonna add a class, so it's going to be h5, and the text is going to be project heading, and I'm gonna put paragraph. I'm gonna remove the margin bottom. So by default it has a margin, so I have removed that margin, and I'm gonna put some text. Let's say lorem 18, save it. Alright, so I want to display 2 items, okay, on desktop. So for that um, I'm gonna add. Okay, so let's search for responsiveness. Okay, so responsive breakpoints. Okay, here is it. So I'm gonna click on this core. All right, and I'm gonna scroll down. So we have these breakpoints. So I'm gonna type breakpoints. All right, so at 0. So I'm gonna display items. So how many items I want to display at 0 to. So I'm gonna display 1. All right. So I'm gonna copy this. Then we have another breakpoint. Let's say 768. So on tablet, so I'm gonna display 2 items, and on desktop, so I'm gonna display 3 items. Sorry, 2 items. So I'm gonna save it and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this slide. All right, and I'm gonna design this. So as you can see, this dots are at the top of this text, so I'm gonna give some space. So I'm gonna select this class. I'm gonna add a margin top and bottom 5. So as you can see, we have some space now. And also I'm gonna change the color for this navigation, swiper navigation. Alright, so I'm gonna change the background color to white. No. So let's select these nav dots, which is, yep, this class. So I'm gonna copy this, change the background color to white, save it. So as you can see, and also I'm gonna give some space between the slides. So space between. All right, so we have 24 pixel space between these slides. So I'm gonna select this project. All right, select the project, Control D. Okay, I'm gonna add a class padding 4, and I'm gonna add another class. It's going to be border custom. Save it, and there you go. So on hover, I'm gonna show the text at the top of this image, just like we have here. So let's do that, and also let's see the responsiveness. So as you can see, looking great. All right. So I'm gonna select the project. So I'm gonna select the project, and I'm gonna set the overflow to hidden. All right, and set the position to relative. Then I'm gonna select project. I'm gonna select the overlay class. All right, and I'm gonna give a padding, say 32 pixel. All right, and I'm gonna set the position to absolute from the, so let's say from the bottom 0, from the left side 0. All right, and let's give a transition. Alright, and I'm gonna hide this, so I'm gonna set the opacity to 0, and also I'm gonna push this from the top, so I'm gonna type transform from the y-axis. So let's push this to like 60 pixel, and when on hover on the project, I'm gonna select the overlay and set the opacity to 1. Okay, and I'm gonna remove that transform to 0, save it, and let's see. Oh, looking great. Okay, so let's change the image. So this is going to be project 4, 3, 2, and 1. Save it, and let's see. All right, and also let's adjust the speed. So here I'm gonna type speed is going to be, let's say, 1000 milliseconds. So let's see. Awesome. So you can play around with these different values, so I will leave that up to you. All right, so you can adjust the speed and other properties. All right, so let's design the other section. So as you can see, we have the space between, this is too much space, so we have added on the top. So I'm going to remove this from the top 0, and from the bottom is going to be 5. So we have added the space because these bullets point were on the top of the images. Alright, so looking great. So let's design this testimonial section. Okay, so let's do that. And the comment is going to be portfolio. I'm going to copy this section. Okay, and I'm going to remove some of the slides. It's okay, I'm going to remove this. And here I'm going to create a class. This is going to be review. Okay, so I'm going to put an image. So I'm going to select this image 1. All right. Then I'm going to put some text. It's going to be lorem 24. Then I'm going to type H5. This is going to be John Doe. And then I'm going to put paragraph text, and I'm going to remove the margin bottom. Text is going to be primary, and this person is a web designer. Save it, and let's see. All right, and I'm gonna select this review. I'm gonna give padding 4, and I'm gonna add a class border custom. All right, I'm gonna select the review. I'm gonna select the image, and let's set the weight to 90 pixel. Save it, and I'm gonna give a border radius, say 100 pixel. All right, so I'm gonna give some space. So I'm gonna select the image. Okay, so let's select the paragraph, margin top and bottom, let's say 3. All right, looking great. So I'm gonna copy this slide. It's going to be 4. Save it, and let's see. Alright, so that's it for this client section. And also I'm going to change this titles. Let's go to the top. This is going to be reviews or testimonial. And this is going to be reviews. Alright. And let's add a class. Let's remove this class bg2. Alright. Okay, so the next section is going to be this team section. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to remove this. So the first thing is I'm going to remove the this comment, and the text is going to be team. Subtitle text is going to be team as well, and heading text is going to be alright. So this is going to be a row, so let's put a row here. Alright, so as you can see, here we have 4 items on the desktop. So I'm going to type column on large devices going to be 3, and on small and above small it's going to be 6. Okay, so it means that on large devices, alright, this div will cover 3 column, and on small and above small it's going to cover 6 column space. So I'm gonna put team member. Alright, so here I'm gonna put, it's going to be column. Okay, so I'm gonna put team head. Okay, and here I'm gonna put an image, and this image will cover full space, so I'm gonna type image fluid. Alright, so we have subtitle and the main title. So here I'm gonna put small text, and I'm gonna change the text color primary. Okay, and the text is going to be in this center, so I'm gonna add a class text center. Okay, then I'm going to put h5, and I'm going to remove the margin bottom. Okay, and the text is going to be alright, so let's see. Okay, so I'm going to search for social icons, so I'm going to search for Facebook, so I'm going to select this, and I'm going to put a div. I'm going to give a class divider, and here I'm going to add another div. It's going to be links. I'm going to put an anchor tag, and I'm going to add a class. Class is going to be icon, and I'm going to put Facebook icon here. So I'm going to duplicate this. This is going to be Instagram dribble, and I'm going to duplicate this one more time. This is going to be GitHub. I'm going to save it, and let's see. Alright, so let's design the team section. So I'm going to select this team head, and I'm going to give a padding, let's say 3. Alright, I'm going to select the team member and I'm going to give a border custom class that we have created earlier. Alright. Okay, so and I'm going to give a padding. Okay, so the team member padding on the y-axis is going to be 3. Alright. Okay, so let's design the team section, and I'm gonna set this links to display flex, so it will gonna show this item horizontally. All right, and I'm gonna set the justify content to between, so this will gonna add some space between these nav link, sorry, these social icons. All right, and also I'm gonna give a padding this on x-axis 3. All right, so let's go to the style.css. I'm going to create a comment team, then I'm going to select team member. All right, I'm going to select this team head. Okay, so from margin from the top is going to be 3. All right. So I'm going to give some space between the image and this text, so I'm going to select the image. So we already have a class, so I'm going to type margin bottom, let's say 3. All right, so I'm going to select this divider. Okay, and I'm going to give border 1 pixel solid red for now. Okay, so I'm going to give a background color, so I'm going to give a background color, and I'm going to give a height 1 pixel. All right, and select this divider, and I'm going to give margin bottom say 3. All right, looking great. And then I'm going to select these social icons. So I'm going to select the team member, then I'm going to select the links, then I'm going to select the icon. All right, so I'm going to remove the background to, I'm going to set the background transparent. Oops, so I'm going to do that later. And let's decrease the width and height. So I'm going to set the width to, let's say, 40 pixel, and height 40 pixel as well. Okay, and change the text color to white. Okay, and also I'm gonna remove the text decoration none, and let's decrease the font size to 24 pixel. All right, looking great. And I'm gonna give a border color, so I'm gonna remove the background transparent, and let's give a border. All right, and let's change this on hover. Background color is going to be this blue color, and all right, and let's change the border color as well. So okay, looking great. So now let's duplicate this team member. So I'm going to copy this, save it and let's see. Looking cool. So now let's design this blog post section. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna duplicate this, I'm gonna paste it right here. Alright, so I'm going to remove this row. Okay, so I'm going to save it, and I'm going to change this to be, the text is going to be blog, the ID is going to be blog. Alright, and the text, let's change the subtitle text to blog. So I'm going to save it and let's see, and let's add a class to this section, bg2. I'm going to save it. Okay, and here I'm going to create a row. Inside this row I'm going to create a column. Okay, so this column, this div will cover on large devices, and above large is going to be cover 3 column space. On small and above small, it's gonna cover 6 column space. All right, so I'm gonna create a div, and I'm gonna give a class. It's going to be blog post. Okay, so we have a date, title, and description, and a link. So I'm gonna put a span. Okay, I'm gonna give a class badge, and the background is going to be primary, and I'm gonna put the date, so 12/1/2023. Okay, and then I'm gonna put h5, and the title is going to be how to design a blog with Bootstrap. Okay, and let's put some description text. Okay, and let's put a link, so it's going to be read more, and I'm gonna give padding 4, and I'm gonna add a border custom class that we have created. All right, I'm going to copy that text. All right, and I'm going to remove the rounded, so I'm going to type rounded 0, remove the border radius, from this badge, so I'm going to type rounded 0. All right, so I'm going to select this h5, scale margin top and bottom 3, and I'm going to duplicate this, save it. So we have this blog post. Okay, and let's design this contact us section. So I'm going to select this blog section, copy, and I'm going to paste it right here. I'm going to remove this row, and let's change the comment and the title. and I don't need this button, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, and let's remove this pg2. Okay, so on the left side we have this contact us information. Okay, and on the right side we have this form. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a row class. Okay, so inside this row I'm gonna put column lg6. All right, so this will be for the contact us information, so I'm gonna put a div. Okay, so I'm gonna add a class border custom, and I'm gonna give a padding 4. Okay, and here I'm gonna put a div, and I'm gonna give a class icon, and I'm gonna search for, so I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it right here, then I'm gonna create another div. So this div will hold this information. It's going to be h5, is going to be boom. I'm going to remove the margin bottom from the paragraph, and let's copy this. Save it, and let's see. Alright, so I want the icon to be on the left side and this information to be on the right side. So I'm going to select this div and set the display to flex. Alright, then I'm going to select the icon, this div. I'm going to give a margin left from the left side, let's say 3. Alright, looking great. So I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, then I'm going to search for, I'm going to search for map, I think email. Copy it, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, and I'm gonna paste the email right here. I'm gonna copy the address. Text is going to be email, and this is going to be address. Alright, so I'm gonna paste the address right here. I'm gonna save it. Alright, looking great. So that's it for this column, and on the right column we have this contact us information. Alright, so I'm gonna add another column. Okay, so I'm gonna put a form here. Okay, so inside this form I'm gonna create a div. Okay, so this div will cover, so I'm gonna put a label. Okay, and the text is going to be name. Okay, then I'm gonna put an input field, and I'm gonna give a class form control. I'm gonna duplicate this div, and before doing that, let me give a margin bottom, let's say 3. So I'm gonna duplicate this. So this is going to be email. Okay, and the type is going to be email. All right, and here I'm gonna put message, and this is going to be a text area. I'm going to remove this ID and columns. I'm going to leave the name as it is, and let's give it a 4 and add a class form. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's give this form a class border custom, and let's give a padding 4. All right, so and I'm going to put a button right here as well, so I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to put a button right here. Button is going to be a primary button. So what you can do, you can select this column and set the display to grid. All right, so as you can see, the height is not equal, but and I'm going to design this form. Okay, so I'm going to, so let's rename this to ID to contact. Okay, so here I'm going to create a comment, so this will be contact. I'm going to select the contact as ID. All right, then I'm going to select the form control class. Okay, I'm going to change the background color to transparent. All right, and I'm going to give a border 1 pixel solid. All right, and I'm going to set the border radius to 0, and let's give a padding 10 pixel. All right, and let's give some space between the label and the input. So what you can do, you can select the label, and let me give a class margin bottom, let's say 3. 3 is too much, yeah, 2 is looking fine. All right, so when I click on this, as you can see, the text is not looking that much good. So for that, I'm gonna give a color white. All right, there we go. So now let's design this Instagram post section. Okay, so I'm going to collapse this and I'm going to add a comment. This will be okay, so I'm going to put a div. All right, and I'm going to give a class row. I'm going to remove the gap between the columns. All right, and I'm going to put an image here. I'm going to put a div, and this will cover 6 column space. Okay, and on small to, let's say, on medium, and above medium this will gonna cover 3 column space. I'm gonna put the image, and let's add a class image fluid. Save it and let's see. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this. It's going to be 2, 3 and 4. Save it, and I'm going to give some space. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to type top and bottom 5. All right, and let's put the button at the top of this section. So I'm gonna add a button here, so I'm gonna give a class button primary, and the text is going to be follow us on Insta. All right, and I'm gonna wrap this button inside a div. All right, and I'm gonna give an ID. This is going to be Insta section. Okay, so here I'm gonna select that section, set the position to relative. Then I'm going to select this section. I'm going to select the button. So I want the button to be in the center of this section. So I'm going to set position absolute, from the top 50%, from the left 50%. Save it. Alright, so I'm going to save it. So this is not in the center. So what you can do, you can add a property transform negative 50% and negative 50%. So this will make the button exactly in this center. So now let's create this footer section. So I'm gonna add a comment. This will be footer. All right, inside this footer I'm going to create a container. Inside this container I'm going to create a row. Here I'm going to create a class. This is going to be column, and the class is going to cover on medium and above medium 6 column space, this div. All right, and I'm going to give I'm going to create a div. Okay, and I'm going to give a padding, let's say 4, and I'm going to add a border custom class, and I'm going to go to this navigation. Let's copy this. All right, and let's paste that right here, and I'm going to put some text. All right, and let's remove the margin bottom from the paragraph. All right, and let's add another column. This column, this div will cover 3 column space on medium and above medium. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put H5. And the text is going to be lengths, and I'm going to put an unordered list here. I'm going to put some length, so it's going to be home. Services. So I'm going to duplicate this section, this column. All right, this is going to be follow us. GitHub, Twitter, YouTube. All right, and I'm going to remove this this gutter space. So what you can do, you can add a class gutter 0. All right, And what should I do? So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna cut and I'm gonna paste it right here. Alright, so I think I don't need this div. So I'm gonna remove this div. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this. Alright, so I'm gonna put another column. And this div will cover 12 column space, and I'm gonna put a paragraph. Remove margin bottom. Alright, so I'm gonna type designed by someone, and this should be inside an anchor tag. And let's give a padding 4 and border custom, and the text should be in the center, so text center. Okay, so let's design this on order lists. So I'm gonna select the footer. Alright, footer on order list item, and alright, and let's remove the padding. So select the footer on order list, set the padding to 0. Alright, then I'm going to select the footer on order list item. I'm going to select the anchor tag and change the color to BS body. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's create a scroll to top button just like we have right here. Okay, so how to do that? So I'm gonna add a comment. This will be scroll to top. I'm gonna put an anchor tag. I'm gonna add a class icon, and let's search for arrow. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it right here. Save it, and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna design this a little bit. So I'm gonna add a class, another class. So this will be scroll to top. So I'm gonna copy this class. Okay. Okay, remove the text decoration. Okay, so we don't have that text decoration. On hover, the icon color should be white. Alright, and let's give a border radius as well. 100 pixel, and set the position to fixed. Okay, so from the bottom it's going to be 40 pixel, and from the right 40 pixel. Okay, so now I'm gonna hide this button. So when I scroll down, I want to show this button. Okay, and this will go to the top. Okay, so let's give this body an ID top. Okay, so let's go to the app.js. So let's select let's create a variable. So I'm going to name this scroll to top, and then I'm going to select that button, that icon. which is scroll to top, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna say window. So let's add an event listener. So the event listener is going to be scroll. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let's add an alert function. So when I scroll down, so as you can see, it's looking great. It's working. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select this button. Sorry, this icon. Okay, so I'm gonna hide this, and if I scroll, let's say from the top 300 pixel, then I'm gonna show this this icon. So I'm gonna say if window scroll y, so if the scrolling position from the top is greater than 300, then I'm gonna scroll to top, then I'm gonna select that icon, set the style, style display to grid. Okay, so I'm going to go to the icon. So we have set the display property to grid. Okay, so that's why I have set the display to grid. Otherwise, hide this button. It's going to be none. Save it and let's see. Okay, so as you can see at the top, this icon is not visible. So when I scroll down, so as you can see, this is now visible, and if I click on this, it goes to the top, looking great. Okay, so let's see the responsiveness from the top and see if this is the responsiveness is working. Okay, so the hero section and the navigation bar is fine. All right. Okay, looks great. Okay, so something is not right here. So as you can see, we have that text, which is inside this portfolio section. So I'm gonna, yeah, there it is. Padding 4 and border custom. All right, so let's see. All right. Okay, so we need to give some space between the team section, these team members. So I'm gonna go to the team members. Where it is, yeah. So I'm gonna change this ID to team as well. I'm gonna give a gut space for him. Sorry, for not for him. Okay, and so as you can see, we have this space, and which is looking nice. And also I'm gonna give some space between this blog posts. All right. Okay, so now everything is looking fine. So let's go to the animate on scroll library. Okay, and I'm gonna click on this icon, and I'm gonna copy this link. Okay, go to the top, paste it right here, and then I'm gonna copy this, go to the bottom, and here I'm gonna paste it. Okay, then I'm gonna copy this function and go to the app.js, and I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so now we can use these animations. So when you scroll down, as you can see, these different animations. So I'm going to copy this one. All right, and to see if this is working, so I'm going to select this column. I'm going to paste it, save it, and let's see. I'm going to refresh. So as you can see, this is working very nice. And I'm going to set this to fade down. Okay, and I'm going to add a delay. All right, let's give a delay of 400 millisecond. All right, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it right here and set the delay to, let's say, 500. All right, and also I'm going to change the speed. So if you go to the animate on scroll and you scroll right here, okay, so these are the different options that you can change. So the duration, so I'm going to copy this. All right, okay, so I'm going to set the duration to, let's say, 1000 millisecond. Okay, so as you can see, awesome. And also I'm going to change this easing. So let's change that. Let's change that to linear. Save it and refresh. Okay, looking great. So let's change this to ease and out. All right, this is looking fine. And I'm going to close these. Okay, and I'm going to add this animation to all these components. So how to do that? I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to the services. All right, and I'm going to select this row. I'm going to paste it, save it, and let's see. All right, so this should be right here. Save it and let's refresh. All right, so as you can see, and set the delay to, let's remove the delay to 0. All right, and I'm going to do this for the services boxes. So I'm going to collapse these. Okay, I'm going to select this, Control D. I'm going to paste it, and let's give the delay 500 millisecond and 600. Save it and let's see. All right, and I'm going to do this for these rest of the others real quick. Alright, so I have added the animation to all these components, and as you can see, it's looking very nice. Okay, cool. Okay guys, so that's it for this video, and if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to like, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.